Hey everybody, it's Miss Motivational Mogul Mindset, Avis Cherie. I hope you're having a very peaceful minded day and you getting and absorbing your own thoughts and putting your own energies into your own goals on how you can contribute to a hurting society, a ailing community versus hinder a community. We're focused on a blackout date. Now, I was reflecting on all the dates and how they coincide with some very monumental dates as it pertains to everything that's going on with the protests, the injustices, and so it's circulating on all social media platforms. We're going to withdraw our finances, withdraw our exchange for goods and services, keep our monies in our pockets. We've done this before. Great. But also don't get blindsided. And while you're home on July 7th and withholding your money and not spending it in the stores, don't go and spend it all out July 6th or for the 4th of July, or wait to spend it all on July 8th. It's not hard to calculate movement when there's no strategic action steps. There's no new set of consequences. There's no new set of addendums to reconfigure, re-strategize why it once did not work in one area, or it did work before. Say when we withdrew our finances for goods and services and stopped spending money in the stores, and the economy suffered because as a coalition of people, we withdraw and hold out. What happens when that's just it? What did we add to the purpose and the movement of a blackout date? But more importantly is July 7th for Delaware is the primary presidential election. So you need to be at the polls. You don't just need to see what the next post on social media is on that day. You need to take a whole caravan of your friends and you need to go down and start to register. Make sure everybody's registering now. Make sure everybody's casting their ballots. Make sure everybody's going to vote on July 7th. See, I don't know if it's diluted or convoluted on purpose that we pick these dates to blackout, that we pick these dates to move and choose. And I don't know who orchestrates it or spreads that infectious disease of following everybody's opinion or following everybody's strategy without researching and empowering people to look at your localized issues, your state and localized governments, the people that are empowered, that are authorizing this type of these types of trainings for these types of police officers, these types of permissions to go to the extent to deem us domestic terrorists, to these types of laws that's in place. We need to assert ourselves in our civil rights to be more informed, to position ourselves at the polls so that we can have a say and a seat at the table to implement and push for more understanding of cultural diversity, sensitive natures. That's why this world right now is in an uproar. There isn't enough cultural sensitivity. There isn't enough cultural diversity training, and they're definitely suffering in the ethical part. So my focus behind the scenes is not just, I'm not going against everything, but don't be easily led or misguided, because the dates for me coincide with other things that I thought was interesting, that they kind of met up on the same day. I just heard about the blackout within this last week or so, just like you guys, and then a month or so ago I've already posted in community bricklayers and Facebook that there is a presidential primary election campaign going, or primary election going on that day for you to vote. So again, I would ask you to scrub down your dates. I would ask you to circulate your state and local level election voter dates. Put that on your post. If you're a brand page, pin it to the top of your post, or pin it to the top of your page, so that when everybody goes to your page, that is the focus, that emphasizes and speaks volumes that you are in alignment and in preparation for change. The other things have to take place. They have already begun to manifest, the uglies, the sorrows, the grief, and the loss that we've all suffered, parallel to COVID, parallel to a history of injustice, parallel to a history of an inability to cope with unresolved issues, parallel to abuse, parallel to abuse of power, parallel to plain old ignorance. So that domino effect has already fallen, and it has already started. It started years ago. And what happens is people pacify the moment. They get comatose and in the chaos. They get comatose in just watching what's going on for the moment, but not looking at enough things that are being orchestrated behind the scenes. Because if I can divert your attention to all of these bizarre things that are going on, all these bizarre stories that are saying we have all these groups that's doing this and doing that and doing this on purpose, then you have to scrub it down and set back and ask yourself, like, this is nothing new. This is nothing that we have not heard before. But now what's going on that date? What's going on that date? So while you're home and you're not spending your money, what else are you supposed to be doing? Don't let them make you unintelligent. Don't let them think that they're that clever. Whoever it is, follow your own mindset. And when you get valid facts, empower your family, empower your friends, empower the children. Because they're going to go out here on the streets. We have to hold them accountable. Don't go out here doing all that foolishness if you ain't marching your tail down there and registering to vote. Period. And if you don't understand the process of state, local level legislation, the reasoning on why you need to, this is why. So you sit them down in a 2 to 3 minute conversation and say, hey, I'm going to walk you through the steps, because your protesting impacts and affects great things, but to have it affect and be stamped in some type of legislation to protect our civil rights, to protect our voice and let them be heard, to protect us having to go out and go to all these great extents, we need to change the way, the mindset of the way people think in legislation in the state and local levels. And hopefully over time, our generations will begin to see an influx of like-minded people that look like them, a cultural diverse set, a group of intellectuals, younger and younger and younger, that are sharper and sharper, that will reflect on the years of 2020 and all the ones that came before, who suffered great loss and sacrifice as they tried to implement change, who suffered great loss and sacrifice as they were pulled over and did not make it home that night, who suffered great sacrifice and loss at the hands of someone in some group of people who have tapped out and zoned out, have allowed themselves to be so inhumane that they could ravishly take the lives of others. So one last thing before I go. I always ask myself, when I look at the crime statistics, when I'm analyzing data for broadcasting, right? All the crime that we have interracially, we wonder why when the mugshots of us are posted, there's a slew and a thread of comments calling us monkeys, calling us unruly, calling us unintelligent, continuing to rally and say, keep killing each other, y'all. Y'all doing a great job. I've seen every kind of comment possibly known to man. People that don't know these people's mothers, these people's families, don't know that they weren't raised like this, don't know their set of conditions, don't know their socioeconomic backgrounds, which does not excuse any of our behavior. But I often wonder about all these gangbangers, all these people that's racing to go out in the street and kill each other, from women, men, children, teenage boys and girls getting shot up. I often wonder, what is your philosophy when you roll down on by the cops? Now, you might have an ought with your brother and you say, when I see him, whoop-de-woo, this is going to happen. But you ain't worried about retribution, because karma's going to come back. Live by the gun, die by the gun, right? Instead of understanding how critical life is and how important it is to love your neighbor and love one another and try to be as peaceably as possible, we could just walk out our door and a random stop can lead to death. So if we don't value ourselves in our lives, why would they? They just go to school and do what they're told they have to do to get in the ranks. Some of them don't even go to school. Get in the ranks that they need to get in to do injustice. Get the badge, get the power, get the seat in legislation just to oppress. Because we look like we don't care about what happens to us because of what we do to one another. That was bothering me. I don't understand it. Not one bit.